The explosion happened at exactly 2:43 p.m. on a quiet Tuesday in Oceanside, California. The propane truck had jackknifed on Coast Highway, leaking gas near Webb's Auto Repair. Emergency crews were evacuating a 3-block radius when they realized someone was still inside the auto shop. Marcus Webb, the quiet mechanic who'd owned the place for 3 years. What the fire chief didn't know as he watched Webb calmly approach the leaking truck was that those steady hands had once defused IEDs in Afghanistan. That the precision everyone was about to witness wasn't just mechanical skill, it was combat engineering expertise earned in places where one wrong move meant your entire team went home in boxes. The bomb squad was still 20 minutes away, but Marcus Webb was already walking toward the truck with tools that weren't quite standard mechanic equipment. Welcome to Life Stories Archive, where heroes reveal themselves in the most dangerous moments. Webb's Auto Repair had been part of Oceanside's landscape for over 20 years, though Marcus had only owned it for the last 3. The previous owner, an elderly man named Joe Herrera, had sold it to Marcus when he retired, impressed by the younger man's skill with complex repairs and his quiet, methodical approach to work. Marcus Webb, 34, had the bearing of someone comfortable with solitude. He worked mostly alone, with just one part-time assistant, a community college student named Danny, who helped with basic maintenance. Customers liked Marcus for his honest assessments and fair prices, but nobody really knew much about him personally. He lived in a small apartment above a surf shop 2 blocks away, drove a modest pickup truck, and seemed content with the simple rhythm of fixing cars, helping neighbors, and staying largely invisible. The only unusual thing about him was his precision. Every tool returned to its exact place, every repair executed with surgical accuracy, every movement economical and purposeful. When people occasionally asked about his background, Marcus would deflect politely. "Picked up the skills over the years," was his standard response. He'd been in the military, people assumed, but lots of guys in Oceanside had military backgrounds. It wasn't remarkable enough to pursue. The propane delivery truck had been making its weekly rounds when the driver, distracted by his phone, took the corner onto Coast Highway too fast. The truck jackknifed, slammed into a utility pole, and came to rest with its rear tank assembly badly damaged. The leak started small, just a hissing sound and the sharp smell of gas. But within minutes, it had become a cloud of highly combustible vapor drifting toward the surrounding businesses, including Webb's Auto Repair. Fire Chief Rodriguez arrived first, immediately recognizing the severity of the situation. "We need a 3-block evacuation now," he radioed. "And get the bomb squad out here. This thing could level half the street." Emergency crews began knocking on doors, rushing people away from the danger zone. The surf shop, the taco stand, the small apartment building. Everyone was moved to safety, except for one problem. Marcus Webb's auto shop bay doors were closed, and his truck was still in the parking lot. "There's someone still in that shop," Officer Martinez told the fire chief. "The mechanic. I saw him working under a car an hour ago." Rodriguez grabbed his radio. "We need to get that guy out now. If this goes up, anyone within 50 yards is dead." Marcus had been aware of the commotion outside, but initially assumed it was just a traffic accident. When the knock came at his door, urgent, official, he opened it to find Fire Chief Rodriguez in full emergency gear. "Sir, you need to evacuate immediately. We have a propane truck leak across the street, and this whole area could explode at any moment." Marcus stepped outside, assessed the scene in seconds. The truck's position, the wind direction, the size of the vapor cloud, the proximity to ignition sources. His mind automatically calculated blast radius, evacuation zones, and response times. "How long until the bomb squad arrives?" he asked calmly. Rodriguez checked his watch. 20, maybe 25 minutes. Why? Marcus was already looking at the truck with the kind of focused attention most people reserved for puzzles or problems they enjoyed solving. That tank's compromised in 3 places. The leak's getting worse, and you've got an electrical hazard from that utility pole. "Sir, I need you to evacuate with the others." Marcus turned back toward his shop. "Give me 2 minutes." Before Rodriguez could protest, Marcus disappeared into his garage. He emerged moments later carrying a toolbox that looked standard, except for a few items that seemed oddly specialized. Precision instruments that belonged more in a laboratory than an auto shop. "Sir, what are you doing?" Marcus was already walking toward the truck. "Chief, I need you to keep everyone back, and cut power to this whole block if you can." Marcus approached the leaking propane truck with the methodical calm of someone who had done this before. Not exactly this, but close enough. He set his toolbox down at a safe distance and began removing tools that most mechanics wouldn't recognize. Fire Chief Rodriguez followed, staying back but close enough to communicate. "Sir, you can't just walk up to that thing. It's a bomb waiting to happen." "Not a bomb," Marcus replied without looking back. "Just an engineering problem with explosive consequences, if handled incorrectly." He knelt beside the truck's tank assembly, examining the damage with the focused intensity of a surgeon. "Chief, the main leak is here, at the coupling. Secondary breach along this seam. The vapors being pushed by wind toward your electrical hazard." Rodriguez stared. "How do you know all this?" Marcus was already working, his hands moving with practiced precision. "Explosive ordnance disposal, Afghanistan, 2010 to 2018, different materials, same principles." The words hit Rodriguez like a physical force. EOD, the military specialists who defused bombs and handled the most dangerous explosive devices in combat zones. Suddenly, Marcus's calm made perfect sense. Your military was Navy EOD technician, handled everything from roadside bombs to chemical weapons disposal. Marcus's voice remained conversational as he worked. "Propane's actually simpler than most of what we dealt with over there." With tools designed for precision work, Marcus began the delicate process of stopping the leak without triggering an explosion. Each movement was calculated, economical, informed by years of experience, where mistakes measured in millimeters meant the difference between mission success and catastrophic failure. "The key is controlling pressure release," he explained to Rodriguez, who watched in fascination. "You don't want to stop the leak too quickly. That can cause pressure buildup and rupture. You redirect it, control the flow, then gradually isolate the damaged sections." 20 minutes later, the leak had been reduced to a minor seepage that emergency crews could easily manage. The vapor cloud dissipated, the immediate danger passed, and Marcus packed his specialized tools back into the toolbox like he'd just finished changing someone's oil. The bomb squad arrived 15 minutes after Marcus had already neutralized the threat. "Sir," their team leader said, after assessing the situation, "who handled the initial stabilization?" Rodriguez pointed to Marcus, who was washing his hands with a bottle of water from his truck. "Local mechanic." Turns out he used to defuse bombs in Afghanistan. Word spread quickly through the emergency response community. The mechanic who'd prevented a potential disaster wasn't just some guy with tools. He was a decorated EOD specialist who had served 8 years in some of the most dangerous assignments the military offered. Over the following days, details emerged. Marcus Webb had been part of elite EOD teams that had handled over 400 explosive devices in combat zones. He'd been medically retired after an IED explosion damaged his hearing, but his technical skills and steady nerves had remained intact. The mayor presented him with a Civilian Service Award. The local news wanted interviews. Veterans organizations reached out with job offers that paid 10 times what he made fixing cars. Marcus declined most of the attention politely but firmly. He liked his life, liked his work, liked the quiet satisfaction of solving mechanical problems without the life or death stakes he'd known in the military. 2 weeks after the propane truck incident, Marcus was back in his shop, working under a Honda Accord, when Fire Chief Rodriguez stopped by. "I keep thinking about what you did," Rodriguez said. "How you just walked up to that truck like it was a routine repair." Marcus slid out from under the car, wiping his hands on a rag. "It was routine for me. Different setting, same skill set. The county's looking for EOD consultants. Training, hazmat response, emergency situations. You could make real money, use your expertise for something more significant." Marcus considered this, looking around his modest shop. "Chief, I spent 8 years defusing bombs, handling chemical weapons, working in places where every day might be my last. This?" He gestured to the tools, the cars, the quiet workspace. "This is what I chose to do afterward." Rodriguez nodded slowly. "But when the community needed those skills, I used them. That's what you do." Marcus returned to his work. "But I don't need to make a career out of crisis anymore. I've got everything I need right here." Marcus Webb continues fixing transmissions, changing oil, and helping his neighbors keep their cars running. The EOD training is always there, ready when needed, but it doesn't define his daily existence anymore. He'd found something more valuable than recognition or high-stakes missions. The peace of honest work and a life where expertise serves the community without the constant presence of mortal danger. Sometimes the most skilled warriors choose the quietest battles. They trade the complexity of military operations for the simple satisfaction of problems solved, neighbors helped, and communities served in ways that don't require headlines. The tools in Marcus's shop might look ordinary, but they're wielded by hands trained to handle the most dangerous devices imaginable. The difference is that now those skills serve life instead of confronting death. Have you ever discovered that someone in your community had skills or experiences that completely changed how you saw them? Share their story in the comments, because heroes don't always reveal themselves until the moment their expertise is desperately needed. If this story reminded you that extraordinary people often choose ordinary lives, subscribe to Life Stories Archive. Every quiet professional deserves recognition for both what they've done and what they choose to do now.